Okay, so now that we have a Constitution of 1789, we have a Bill of Rights ratified in 1791, including the First Amendment. So let's talk about what Madison was up to when, in the summer of 1789, he sat down to draft the First Amendment. As I had mentioned, when the states wrote their constitutions in 1776, including Bill of Rights, all of these ideas were already in them. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, all of these things. Madison's genius was to bring them all together in one place. And so we have to talk about in law, words are really important, and the structure of the words is really important. So stop and think about how the First Amendment is constructed. You could look at it on, I put it in two different places on the class blog. Congress shall make no law. Okay, Congress shall make no law. About what? Respecting an establishment of religion, comma, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, semicolon, or abridging the freedom of speech, comma, or of the press, semicolon, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, comma, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So there are 6 clauses, therefore 6 freedoms in the First Amendment. And also, therefore, 6 litigation strategies. If you sue somebody if you sue the government for violating your First Amendment rights, you have 6 to choose from, 6 reasons. All right. So here's the structure. It's 45 words, 3 commas, 2 semicolons, and a period. It's very compact. But look at his genius, because in the Bills of Rights at the state level, it was kind of like a laundry list. Here, he's brought all of these things together, and think about how they're related and how he has grouped things. It's 3 couplets separated by semicolons, and his great insight is that freedom of religion is not separate from speech, and speech is not separate from getting together and sharing your ideas or for demanding change. There's something communicative about all of these things. Right? Think about religion. In the beginning, God created the Word, right? And religion's all about having the freedom to speak and to advocate your ideas and to try to spread your ideas. And you sometimes want to do that through the press. Hey, how about printing a Bible and handing it out? So there's something that is communicative about all of these, and there's these special relationships, and I think it's pretty brilliant, quite frankly. But notice it progresses from a sort of inner voice to an outer voice, right? Because when we think about religion, I don't know about you, but I think it's a very personal issue, right? It's about what you believe, right? It's about what you believe about the cosmos and the world and life. And I mean, these are very, right? But communicative, we want to be able to communicate with each other, right? So notice, and don't make this mistake. Some people say there are 5 freedoms. There are 6 freedoms because there are 6 clauses. And they forget there are 2 religion clauses. And freedom from religion is just as important as freedom of religion. Because if you weren't free from imposition of religion, if the government could announce one day, okay, everybody has to be Jewish, well, that wouldn't feel very free, right? Because think about it. That's the system they were escaping, right? You have in the England, you've got the Anglican Church is the official church. The Church of England is the official church. In Spain, Portugal, France, the Catholic Church is the official church. This is exactly the idea that the Founding Fathers were rejecting, right? With the Establishment Clause. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. In other words, Congress can't do anything, the government can't do anything that smacks of establishing an official religion. We reject that idea. At the same time, no matter what religion you choose to partake in, you're free to do it however you want to do it, or not do it. Government also can't make you be religious if you don't want to be, right? Very, very important not to forget that there are 2 religion clauses, not 1. Speech and press, obviously we will talk about a lot this semester. What you will come to see is that the speech clause is really, the court litigates most First Amendment cases in this realm under the speech clause rather than the press clause. And then, of course, assembly. What good is it to have inner feelings and ideas, what good is it to have the power of speak and press if you can't get together with people? Come together and talk about the First Amendment, for example. What good would it be if you also couldn't talk back to government, to petition the government for a redress of grievances? You, government, I am aggrieved and I want you to stop doing what you're doing. None of this would matter if we didn't have the power to talk back to the government. And so you see that plays into the previous video when we talked about wanting to give power to individuals, right? This operationalizes it. This gives individuals some power in the face of the government, and this is the mechanism. This is our mechanism for participation in self-government. That's what this equals. Another way to visualize it, another way to visualize Madison's genius is this triangle. Now, the Founding Fathers loved triangles. And this is another way in which we can see Madison's genius for taking ideas that were floating out there, but bringing them together in a really meaningful and dynamic way. And so, for one thing, obviously he's going to start with the religion clauses because they're, quite frankly, the most important. People were fleeing religious persecution when they came to the United States. So this was first on his priority list. I would love to teach a whole semester just about the religion clauses. And what we think of, the government cannot establish a religion, it cannot make people be religious. And if you want to be religious, you have total freedom to exercise your religion, whatever your religion is, and in whatever way you want to do it, right? These ideas were espoused by people like Roger Williams, the founder of the Baptist Church. These ideas, by the way, separating the government and religion, that idea and the urge for that came from the religious folk. They were the ones who wanted the government to stay away from religion. And so that gives us two important concepts that the First Amendment helps give life to. And that is freedom of conscience. That these issues are so important. They're so important. They go to who you are. They go to your soul. That the government cannot do anything to try to tell you what to think or what to believe. Never. That's a cardinal rule. And then, of course, when you have these two things operating together, you have separation of church and state. Right? So the First Amendment, the way that Madison has structured, it operationalizes these desirable ideas. And then, of course, we extend that. So we want to take our ideas and beliefs, and we want to communicate them with other people through our speech and through our writings, and now through our tweets. And then finally, again, assembly and petition. All of this would not mean a lot if we didn't have the power to come together and sometimes even take action against government. Now, that could be voting people out of office who you disagree with, but sometimes it could be marching in the street. Sometimes it could be protests. Sometimes it could be overthrowing the government. But I want to emphasize not so much that political angle about it, but where Madison is coming from is, to him, there's a very deeply personal point to all of this. And what he's trying to do is create a zone of autonomy. So the First Amendment, all of these clauses working dynamically together, create a shield. And that shield is there to protect us from an overly powerful government. It's to shield our autonomy, it's to shield our agency, it's to shield our humanity. The First Amendment is all about protecting you and making sure that you can be the person you are without the government dictating. It's about protecting people. So that's one way of thinking about the First Amendment.